So speaking of controlled Big Brotherish social media platforms, and speaking of slightly hopeful, or at least slightly funny and ironic stories to start off the new year with, I thought I'd share this little gem with you. Casting your mind back to December 2016, those heady days of December 2016 when people were in the first flush of the fake news crisis that has been dutifully announced by their political overlords and their media lapdogs. Facebook now flags and downranks fake news with help from outside fact checkers. Oh yay, the wonderful folks at Snopes and PolitiFact and what have you have come along to tell people what is true and what is false. And so the long and short of it was they added this disputed by third parties tag. Before you share this story, you might want to know that independent fact checkers disputed its accuracy. Oh my. So this was their way of starting the rollout of the fake news meme and campaign. I wouldn't really know about this because, as I'm sure you know by now, the Corbett Report is not on Facebook. The Corbett Report is not on Facebook. The Corbett Report is not on Facebook. Of course, you know all about that. But anyway, so this was the way that apparently Facebook was handling that problem, the scourge of fake news, until quite recently Facebook ditches the fake news flag after admitting it was making the problem worse. Long and short of it here, Facebook is getting rid of its fake news red flags because they were making fabricated media reports appear more believable to its users. So if we decode this for the propaganda gobbledygook, what it's actually saying is they couldn't make people believe that what they were reading was false simply by telling them that it was false. Oh, you mean people actually require evidence and they need you to actually explain rather than just say, oh, some third-party fact checker has said that your political viewpoint is incorrect. And they thought that was the magic pixie dust wand that was going to make people suddenly abandon all their views. Absolutely ridiculous. Well, they're ditching that right now and tinkering and retooling it. So basically now they're going to be showing related articles next to offending stories instead. Look at all the language they employ here. Fabricated media reports, offending stories. And of course, people 100% know that this is the boy crying wolf. This is CNN and all of these other fake news outlets, including Facebook and their controlled social media platforms, trying to dictate reality to people and labeling any story they don't like as fake news. And I think that's exactly why people see through this, and that's exactly why people do not care about these disputed by third parties tags, and that's exactly why they're going to have to retool their whole system. If you want more information about that, I'll throw in the link to the medium.com post by the actual product designer of the Facebook newsfeed, Designing Against Misinformation, where they talk about this problem and what they've learned from their fake news flags and all of this. And I thought the money quote from here is, "We learned that dispelling misinformation is challenging. Just because something is marked as false or disputed doesn't necessarily mean we'll be able to change someone's opinion about its accuracy. In fact, some research suggests that strong language or visualizations can backfire and further entrench someone's beliefs." So again, they thought that just by putting that label on something, they could make people just zombie-like believe what they were saying. Oh no, a third-party fact checker finds this disputed. Well, I better think twice about that. No, that isn't how it works. And fact and reason and evidence still do have a little bit of pull amongst the public. And I think that's a good thing, don't you? Anyway, I thought this was a funny, ironic, slightly positive story to start off the new year with. I know it just means that they're going to go back to the drawing board and look for better ways to get the rats running through the disinfo maze once again. But at any rate, it's a slight victory for the time being, so let's take it for what it is. And incidentally, for any musically inclined people out there who want to put this little sample, the Corbett Report is not on Facebook. The Corbett Report is not on Facebook. The Corbett Report is not on Facebook in their next musical creation, I'd be very happy to hear that. Anyway, that's going to do it for today. What a way to kick off the new year. Many, many, many more stories to come. I hope you are taking the important things that I'm doing, like the Iran Protest podcast, and spreading them like wildfire across the internet, because that is the way this is going to spread. We can't rely on the controlled social media platforms to do it for us. James Corbett, CorbettReport.com.